Yo, what's up? It's your boy here, Ken, again. Back from another quick video. I want to talk about the Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns match. Has been announced. WrestleMania. How can I say this? This match was basically, we knew Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania was going to happen for a third time. Probably going back since late last year or last summer. There were rumblings of them wanting to do Brock versus Roman again. So I don't think that really catches too many people out by surprise. But I think how we got here was kind of interesting. Brock and Roman were supposed to face each other originally at the day one pay-per-view. Roman had gotten COVID, was gone for a week, which therefore WWE had to make some last minute changes, booking decisions, and they end up putting Brock Lesnar in the Fatal 4-Way, which ended up being a Fatal 5-Way. Brock ended up becoming the WWE Champion, only for 3 weeks later, at the Royal Rumble, lose the belt to Bobby Lashley, but that same night, he would enter himself in the Royal Rumble match, due to Roman Reigns interfering in his championship match against Lashley, which is why Lashley was able to win the belt for a second time. However, as I was saying, so Brock inserted himself into the Rumble, won it, immediately said, hey, I'm coming after you, Roman, for interfering in my match, and obviously Paul Heyman turned on Brock Lesnar again. And then Brock Lesnar ended up getting his rematch for the WWE Championship at the Saudi Arabia Elimination Chamber event last weekend. And now they just announced on SmackDown yesterday, graphic and all, that it's now going to be not just really a title for title, but it is a unification, unifying both the WWE and Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania. I'm completely fine with this. I say go for it. Let's do it. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, these are the two biggest stars that WWE has right now, bar none. I know a lot of people figure, why unify the titles? Because it's going to, there's not that many. It's going to prevent other people from getting the chance of getting the belts or being champion, what have you, whatnot, whatever. My point is that who cares? You look on the main event scene for both rosters. They're very thin, very, very, very thin. I mean, Roman Reigns has pretty much beaten everybody from Edge and Daniel Bryan on the same night at WrestleMania to Drew McIntyre, Big E, who else? Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins recently, Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, which was the night that Roman had won the Universal title. Finn Balor, I mean, you name it, Roman has beaten in his near 2 year dominant run as champion. So the roster's thin anyway, as is on main event talents. So why not just unify both championships? Have one champion. That one champion bounces on both shows. I honestly don't see why that is so hard for WWE to do. I get it, because, hey, look, 2 world titles, which means, replicas that we could sell, which also means toys that we can sell to kids. Obviously, it's a money thing. More merchandise equals more money. I get it. But from a standpoint, I mean, it's really pointless. It really is. I mean, I think we can all safely say, from even a wrestling fan's perspective, the Universal title, specifically, never really had any value to it. And, it's had a pretty short lineage as a championship. I mean, you look at the people that have held it between, Brock and Balor for 20 hours. Roman Reigns and Rollins and Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Goldberg, a handful amount of times, and Kevin Owens. It's a very short list of people that have held the Universal Championship. But even out of the people that have held that championship in a short lineage, that belt never really meant anything unless it was associated with Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns currently. I think that's pretty evident to see. When that belt was not used as a prop for Brock Lesnar or right now Roman Reigns, that belt didn't mean anything. That belt wasn't deemed as a top priority championship unless it was around the waist, around either of those two men. Brock held the Universal title 3 times. Roman Reigns is in the second round with it. That belt hasn't meant anything to anybody else who's had that belt unless Brock and Roman Reigns have had it. So I think when you look at it from that perspective, and then like I said, I just think wrestling fans or WWE fans even at least never really considered that belt to be a top priority championship. Anyway, it's like, why not just get rid of it at this point? No, I do think at some point when they unify the titles, WWE will probably bring the Universal title back or make another secondary World Championship, a month later, probably 2 months later, or maybe even a year later from now. I don't know. I don't think it'll be unified for long, because look how, the last time we had a unification championship match between Orton and Cena, which was, I don't even think, not even 10 years ago it's been. Look how long that unification lasted. It wasn't that long before they end up, I think it was like 2 years, and then they brought in the Universal title in 2016. But my point is that, with the main event roster being thin on both sides, just do away with it. Make one title and let that one champion be the champion. And then there's also the thing about, a lot of people kind of have some gripe about, Brock and Roman Reigns fighting again, and main event WrestleMania again. And, because this isn't the first time battling at WrestleMania. This will be their third time. First time will be at WrestleMania 31, which no one won that match because Rollins cashed in his briefcase. And then the second time they fought at WrestleMania was WrestleMania 34, 35, which Brock beat Roman. And now we have a third bout between these two at WrestleMania, which I believe this will make the Brock and Roman feud would be the third WrestleMania trilogy that we've had. The other two being Triple H and Undertaker, and then Rock versus Stone Cold, a rivalry that's had 3 WrestleMania main events. This will be the third between Brock and Roman. And then you also figure the fact too, Roman and Brock, besides them headlining a third WrestleMania, they've also fought plenty of times outside of WrestleMania. SummerSlam, and they've wrestled, before plenty of other times in times past. So I think a lot of people are getting fatigued. The only interesting thing I would say that makes this match feels like a big deal is the positions that both men are in now compared to their last 2 WrestleMania bouts and even the other bouts that they've had outside of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns being a heel, putting on some of his best work as, his character work, and even an in-ring performer. I would say he's having some of his best matches of his career, bar none, now than he's ever had in his, 6-7 year run here in WWE. And then you have Brock Lesnar, who is a babyface this time, who during his, last 7 to 8 years since coming back to WWE has been nothing but a heel his entire time. So him being a babyface now and being over with the crowd and crowd being accepting towards him, it's same people facing each other, but they're on different opposing teams, or they're on the opposing side of the fence this time around, which makes it different, which has made the feud more interesting, I would say. And then you also have the fact of, like I said, Roman Reigns is a big star, regardless of, his shortcomings of getting him over as a top babyface. All of Roman Reigns' acolytes, from the Royal Rumble win to, the multiple uh, WWE Universal Championship runs he's had, the multiple main event WrestleMania matches he's had, him beating Undertaker at WrestleMania. All those accolades building up to his character right now, it legitimizes who Roman Reigns is now. Even though he might have been over then, those past accolades helps elevate and legitimize Roman Reigns and who he is now today in his current role, and it helps that, including his 545-day run as Universal Champion. Then you have Brock, who's a draw in his own right. Brock is a big star, a big draw. Is over like Grover. Him having the momentum of being a WWE champion again, winning the WWE championship twice in the past like 3 weeks, winning the Royal Rumble, which earned him the right to face Roman. So him being a Royal Rumble winner again, a second time in his career, to earn the right to face Roman. And then again, like I said, and winning the WWE Championship twice within 2 months, which I think collectively now this would have made Brock Lesnar a 5-time WWE champion. Because I know when he left WWE, he was a 3-time champ. Or sorry, maybe not 5. I think 7. Just to make Brock a 7-time WWE champion, because he did win the WWE title when he came back. I forgot about that. So yeah, this would make Brock a 7-time WWE champion. So with those 2 recent accolades under Brock's belt, Brock now has some momentum going into this match. And so when you have both of these guys, like I said, being on both sides of the fence this time, different sides of the fence, and their accolades, and now this being a unification match at the biggest pay-per-view, because the last time we had a unification match, it was Cena and Orton, but it was done at the TLC pay-per-view, which was a throwaway pay-per-view. This one is being done at the biggest stage possible, WrestleMania. Lights on bright. I mean, this is possibly, I would say, with all the things that I mentioned leading into this main event match, this is quite possibly the biggest main event match WWE can do right now, and probably the biggest main event WrestleMania match that they probably could have ever had in the last maybe 4 or 5 years of WrestleMania. I mean, the last 4 or 5 years. But that's just my thoughts on that. You guys let me know what you think. Are you looking forward to Roman versus Brock main event at WrestleMania, 3rd time, unification match, combining both belts? Do you want to see that? The only interesting thing I will get out of it is if we get a new WWE Championship belt design. I'm a belt guy. I'm a sucker for wrestling belts, or just belts in general from MMA or whatnot. So if they unify both belts and make a new belt to represent both belts, that'll be the only curious thing I'd be mostly interested in coming out of this match. But other than that, you guys let me know what you think. I want to hear your thoughts in the box below. Do yourself a favor, hit that like button, and subscribe. Peace out.